For exercise 4-16, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to begin by drawing the side profile. So I'll start my line command, and I want this to go up 0.88. Then it's going to come across 2.75. Then it will come down. This stuff isn't called out really well in the book, but if you look to the left-hand side of the drawing, it's called out as 0.38. And then this segment right here, it's not really given in the book as to how far back in this actually goes. So what we need to do is assume that it's going halfway, which is 2.75 divided by 2. And that's for those of you that don't want to do the math. You can just type it right into the dialog box and it'll do it for you. Now, with this done, I can now go ahead and extrude this particular piece 3.25. Okay, so here I've got the overall size of my object. Now, for the other portion of this, the dimensioning that it gives leaves a fair amount to be desired. This says that it is 1 on both sides. Well, for it to be 1 on both sides, first thing I need to do is do a sketch on this surface. And I'm going to draw a line that is going to go across this object. And then another line making sure that it is parallel to the first line across the object. Now I can do a distance or dimension from here to here of 1, and from here to here of 1. Now the distance between the two is measured linearly as 0.25. So now you can see that just by having that parallel constraint, I'm able to give it all of the dimensions that I need to give it without a whole lot of extra work. So now I can extrude this part, and this is going to be extruded up a total height of 1.5. Now I have all of the holes that I need to place on this object. So I'm going to start with the holes on here. So first I'll go to the hole command, and the way that they did this is really kind of weird because the holes aren't necessarily measured the way that they're supposed to be. And let me show you what I'm talking about. When I pick this, if I pick this as my reference and I change this to 0.88, that hole is going to appear to be in the right place. Let me grab my second reference edge, which is the top, and we'll make that 0.75. Okay, so I've got my 0.75 and my 0.88. The hole that does go through all has a diameter of 0.75. Okay, so I can apply that, and I've got my first hole in the object. Now, here's where the person that was doing the drawings in the book, much like exercise P4-14, did something that doesn't really make sense. They placed a linear dimension on an angled face, which isn't going to work any of the time. I'll show you what I'm talking about. If I click to locate the center of this hole, and for my reference edges I pick over here and here. Now I know that it's 0.75 down from the top. It's this dimension that is lacking. If I take the two dimensions that I'm given, 1.56 plus the 0.88, what you'll see is it puts this hole way over to the side, and it's truly a result of the way that it was actually dimensioned. Now, if I take and change that first reference edge to over here and make it 0.88, you'll see that the hole is actually placed in the correct spot, which technically is how it should have been dimensioned in the book to avoid any type of confusion. So I will go ahead and apply that hole. Next, I've got the 4 holes that go in the top face of this. So to make this a little bit easier, I'm going to go ahead and just place the first one for now. So I'll go to the hole command. It's on this surface. It's a much smaller hole, has a diameter of 0.375. Its reference edges are this left edge here and the math works out either way to be 0.75, so I'll use this one right here. This is 0.75 here, and this is 0.75. Okay, so that locates my first hole. Now I'm going to go ahead and apply that, and now I'll use a rectangular pattern to create the rest of my holes. So my feature is going to be this hole. My direction 1 is going to go along this plane with the direction flipped, and a distance between the two of 1.25. My direction 2 is going to go along this line with the direction flipped, and it's 2 again, but now the distance is going to be 3.25 minus 1.5. The 1.5 because each set of these holes is in 0.75 from the edge. So once I have that, I can say OK, and there I've got my 4 holes plus the 2 holes in here, given the fact that the book doesn't really handle the dimensioning the way that it should be handled. So that is the completed exercise for P4-16.